All right, you ready?
Ready or not.
Ready or not. Welcome to the S.E.M podcast. We're joined by Jeremy West. This is Jack Bryce with our co-host Zack Hewlett back again for another round. So, Jeremy, have you been able to listen to some of these?
I have, yeah. Yep.
Okay, so you know our format a little bit. We talk about how you got to Scotland, then we'll talk about what you've been up to since the mission, and then we'll go back and review our time there. So, start us off with how you decided to go on a mission or how you got your call, any story associated with that.
Yeah, well, I've heard a few people mention how they weren't prepared to serve a mission. Somewhere they're not active in the church, very active until a little before they left, or just didn't really know anything. And so I want to share a story about to help everyone else feel better. Show how stupid I was before I left on my mission. So it was my senior. I just graduated. It was in the summer, and I was dating a girl, and we went to Institute, and we're sitting at Institute, and she told us to open up to 4th Nephi. And I look over at her and I go, she's joking, right? There's no 4th Nephi. And she goes, yeah, it's after 3rd Nephi. I was like, makes sense. So sure enough, there it was. So that's how prepared I was to go on a mission. And after that point, I was like, all right, if I'm going to go on a mission, I need to figure out what's all in this book. So I decided while I was in college and stuff to read the Book of Mormon and figure out, at least know all the names in the book. So I got my mission call. I was going to a community college in Coos Bay, Oregon. And I had checked the mail at the time that it usually comes at, and there's nothing there. So I was like, it's not here yet. Because it'd been a few weeks. So I was expecting it any time. And then it went on, I think it was like 11 o'clock at night, 12 o'clock at night. I was like, I'm going to go check it again just in case. So I go down, open up my mailbox, and sure enough, there's the white envelope sitting there. I was like, sweet, here it is. So since my family wasn't around, because my mom and stepdad are in northern Idaho. My dad and stepmom were in Utah at the time. I just opened it up myself, read it, found out I was going to Scotland, and was super excited. Told all my roommates, and then I called my parents. I think it was like 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock in the morning. So they thought it was an emergency at first, but then I told them I got my mission call. They were excited after the fact. But yeah, so that's how I got my mission call. And so that was towards the end of the school year. I think it was probably Aprilish when I got it, and then I left in August.
2003. Yeah.
Yep, 2003. Yes. Yep.
Okay. Great. All right. So yeah, that might take the cake for preparedness there, Jeremy. 4th Nephi. I did serve. So I served in a bishopric with the other counselor. He had a story. He was in the MTC, and they said, "Open up to 3rd Nephi. We're going to read about when Christ visited the Americas." And he was like, "What? Christ visited the Americas?" And so that was his starting point. So that does happen. That does happen. Glad you got there.
Yes, me too. Oh.
All right. So 2 years later, you came home, and tell us what you've been up to in the last decade and a half.
Yeah, almost coming up on 20 years. It's crazy. So I got home, and I worked with my dad, my stepdad. He had a franchise selling, they're called soft tubs. And they're like a portable hot tub that run off 110. And he would sell them at garden shows, home and garden shows, and at fairs and stuff. So I did that for, I think, the month before I started back into school. I'm just going to different fairs and stuff, trying to sell those with him. Then I went to college, and I think that first semester I was working like 36 hours a week, and then doing 15 credit hours, and then doing track as well. So I was up at 6 in the morning and at bed at like 12 o'clock. So really nothing had changed much from the mission. So I got right back into those big, long days. So I did that for about a year, and I was like, I got burnt out, and I applied to BYU Idaho. So I went to BYU Idaho in the summer of, so it'd been 2006, the fall of 2006. Went there looking for a wife. Took me a little bit longer, took me a few years, but eventually met my wife, Shayla, and we got married in 2009. We graduated BYU Idaho both at 2011, moved to Texas, and we were in Texas for a couple years. That's where she's from. She's from the Dallas, Texas area. And then we moved to Maine for 5 years. I did a franchise there for 5 years. Got tired of the franchise, and we moved back to Texas in 2018. And have been here ever since. I work as a contract administrator for a company that has multiple partnerships with hospitals throughout the nation. We have 4 kids, 2 boys and 2 girls, and they range from 12 to 6. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. So back in the Dallas-Fort Worth area?
Yep. Yeah, we're just about 45 minutes north of Dallas.
Cool.
Yeah.
Man, we were there together. I didn't even know. It was just down the
Really?
road. Yeah.
Well, because you worked at Lockheed Martin, didn't you? So were you in Fort Worth?
Yeah. Yep.
And when did you
lived
leave?
up on the north side. I left in well, I guess I was there then when you were in Maine, because I left in 2017.
Okay. Yeah, we were here from 2011 to 2013, and then we were in Maine from 2013 to 2018.
Okay, I covered Texas while you weren't there then.
Okay, thanks for keeping it homey for me.
Yeah, very good, very good. All right, so let's go back then. Tell us about when you entered the MTC, and we'll just start there, kind of timeline order, whatever you care to reminisce about.
All right, whatever I can remember.
Yeah.
So I went to the MTC. I was there in August. I reported August 20th. The only reason I remember that because I have it written down here in my Preach My Gospel. So we got there, I had to fly from Idaho to Seattle, and then from Seattle to Chicago, I think it was. And when I got to Chicago, there was, who was all there? Elder Taylor was there. I think Elder Campbell was there. Peterson, Tall Peterson. And I think that was it. I can't remember if there was anyone else. But yeah, we all had that look of, we don't know where we're going or what we're doing. So we kind of knew that and we're all in our suits. So we kind of attracted each other. So that was fun to finally have some people to travel with. And then we flew into England, and the MTC was, I didn't like the MTC that much. I didn't like the food. I was really looking forward going to the MTC in Salt Lake.
You wanted the Lucky Charms in Provo.
I did, yeah. I heard about all the food in Provo. You know, we got all the cereal, all you could eat sodas. I was looking forward to that. And you get to the MTC and in England, and there's hardly anything. So I was like,
muesli.
So I didn't think the food was that good, but I did talk to the MTC president into having a cereal party for us. So they bought a bunch of different cereals to eat, because they had like a book of memories with the MTC, past MTC elders, and they had a cereal party. I think it was the previous president. I was like, hey, do we get this too? He's like, yeah, sure, we'll do that for you. Sweet. So I did get my cereal for one day. But yeah, the MTC was a big learning experience. I guess I shouldn't say I didn't like it, but it was a big learning experience, and just being in the class for all day. That's what I struggle with the most, is I like to be outside and doing stuff. So I really look forward to that hour that we got every day to go play soccer or whatever. But it was fun. It was a good group. Elder Jack Cardos was in that group. Elder Drummond, Elder Taylor, I mentioned before. and a few, I can't remember everyone else that was in there, but it was a good group of guys. We did have a lot of fun. We did get in trouble for pulling pranks. We short-sheeted beds, and we all got in trouble for that. And so, but and then the MTC, after the MTC, we shipped up to Edinburgh. And my trainer was Elder Slater. I don't know if you guys ever met him. He was in the office for a while, so you may have interacted with him that way. But yeah, my first experience in like tracting in the mission was actually with Elder Rittman. So that was kind of fun seeing his talk, because I think he'd only been out 6 weeks, and so he was showing me around, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun going around Edinburgh and knocking doors with him.
Elder Slater was my first when we went GQing.
Elder Slater was?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So
nice. Yeah, he loved to GQ. Oh, the golden question. Yeah, so I was with Elder Slater for 4.5 months, I think. So it was good. The first 3 months were really good, and then that second 4.5 months, I was still kind of trying to transition out of being a greenie, so I wanted to spread my wings a little bit. And so I'm sure I wasn't the funnest to be with, because I was wanting to try different things and new things. I was sick of knocking doors every day. But so that last 6 weeks, we butted heads for a little bit. And I feel kind of bad about how the companionship ended, because we both were just kind of done with each other at that moment.
What area were you in?
Well, we were in Aberdeen. Sorry. Yeah, Aberdeen. So we were in the Hilton part of it, the southern part of the River Don.
Okay.
But luckily with Elder Slater, we got to meet back up at the office, and we got to have a good time, have some fun, and make amends for us both being jerks to each other for the last 6 weeks. Yeah, so that was my first area, and the first week. So we had every Sunday we do exchanges with the zone leaders there. And the zone leaders, they lived in the high flat, so they were up on the first floor, so they looked over the city. And for initiation, I had been in the field for maybe 2 days, so we'd have exchanges every Sunday, because we all went to the same ward together. And so that Saturday night, my first Saturday night, the zone leaders filled up a bunch of water balloons, and we went out to their patio, and there was a bunch of bars and stuff. So a bunch of drunk people would always walk by, and like they grab water balloons and we'd huck them off the balcony at people. So that was my first week initiation into the mission field.
Oh my gosh!
Wow.
Yeah, we heard some swear words, and but it was a lot of fun. It was a great way to break into the mission.
Water balloons of love.
Yes.
We love you.
Yeah, we didn't want them to get too drunk. We wanted to keep the word of wisdom a little bit. So we're trying to do our part. So thinking outside the box.
There you go.
But and that first Sunday I also had to speak. Someone in the bishopric had slid a letter into our mailbox, into the slot in the door. I said, "Welcome, Elder West. We'd love to have you speak this Sunday." So I had a day and a half to prepare, or something like that. So it was a great time that first week. I was trying to figure out the gospel and what people were saying and prepare for a talk. So it was pretty fun. So I was in Aberdeen for 6 months. And that was the time. Oh, I also served with Hill and Anderson at that time. So I had the 4.5 months with my trainer, and then I was with Elder Hill and Elder Anderson for 6 weeks. And we had a lot of fun too. We didn't throw any water balloons at people. We put that behind us, and we actually worked pretty hard. I had a ton of fun. It was a unique experience. I remember Hill touched on it a little bit. I mean, I had been out 4.5 months, and Hill and Anderson, I think, were only out 3 months. And Bishop's like, "Hey, you're all senior companions. Go for it." So we're just kind of like, what do we do? So, it was a learning experience for sure. But it was a lot of fun. I was bummed that Hill was only with us for the 4 weeks, and then he got moved over. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with those guys. Then after being in Aberdeen for 6 months, I went to Ayr, and I was there for 3 months with Elder Carroll. And Ayr, I loved Ayr. I don't know if you guys ever got to serve there, but it was a beautiful village. I really liked it a lot, and the ward was a big ward. It was actually in a church building, and the members were really great. Elder Carroll and I, though, we struggled a little bit. We were completely two different personalities. I don't know if you guys ever met him. He's super smart, and the guy was just crazy smart. I think he was on a scholarship for college and everything too. And he was one of my companions that I really wish I could have gone back and used my strengths and his strengths and work together with him, because with his knowledge of the gospel and just his smartness, we could have done a lot better if we would have focused on our strengths instead of each other's weaknesses. But yeah, with Elder Carroll again, we were able to serve around each other again, and actually I really enjoyed him and got to become pretty good friends with him. So he's a cool guy. Wish I could have served better with him though. Then after Ayr, so I was there for 3 months, and then after, sorry, I have to look at my notes because I can't remember anything. After Ayr, I went to Easter House. So it's in the suburbs of Glasgow. It's one of the prettiest cities in Glasgow. One of the friendliest, I think. Not at all. Not at all.
That's not what I heard.
You said that with such a straight face. I was like, man, he's bluffing big time.
Yeah, it was a dump. It was, yeah. One of the members in Ayr, they were from Easter House. And when I told them that I was going to Easter House, they're like, hope you have a knife-proof vest so when you get stabbed. I was like, great. Because I had no idea about it. And then I found out pretty quick the reputation that it had. So I was there for 3 months, and I was with Elder Willis for those 3 months. And yeah, and I think Willis wasn't much further behind me, but man, we had a lot of fun. Because you served with him, right, Zack?
Yeah, I did.
Well, it was probably a little bit different. He still was fresh in the mission, so we worked hard.
Yes.
We did listen to country music, but it was LDS country singers, and it was only on P-Day, and it was all I can't remember. It was only one artist, and
Really?
yeah, but it was all church country music. So, but
I don't think I heard that album when I was with him.
No?
I can assure you that. Oh no.
he'd moved past that one.
Oh yeah, it was all mainstream stuff, classics, and he was like, "I'm feeling the spirit with this one, Elder."
Yeah. Well, George Strait, he has some spiritual songs.
Oh, George Strait, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, I know that was one of his favorites. Yeah, but no, man. Yeah, Willis and I, we had a lot of fun in Easter House because we had to, because it was such a rough area that you kind of had to have some fun to make the work somewhat enjoyable. One of our favorite things to do after we come in from knocking doors at night is we battered Mars bars, and that turned into whatever we could find. And we did probably 3 weeks straight. Every night we'd batter something, and we did jerky, Oreos. I mean, you name it, we tried it, and we take pictures of everything. And over that 3 weeks, you can see my jawline disappear more and more. I think I gained 20 pounds just in that 3 months because it was so bad.
Were you district leader in that area?
I was, yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think that's when I met you. Because I was in Cumbernauld. I think you are a district leader.
Because I thought you were my district leader for 6 weeks or something like that.
Nope.
No?
Maybe Hill might have been. and I was Hill's companion. But
No, it wasn't
No?
Hill, because me and Hill didn't serve around. I don't think.
did you serve in Motherwell?
Yeah, I served in Motherwell.
Okay, that's when I met you. Then we'll get
Okay. All right.
there. Okay,
Yeah. Were you district leader then?
I don't think so.
Oh, I thought you were my district leader for a little.
I thought you were my district leader. So.
I could have been.
Everybody was a district leader.
Yeah,
I was just
senior companion, everybody's district leader.
Yeah. Yeah, because I was trying to remember where we'd served around each other, because I knew we did, but I couldn't remember the exact spot, and I couldn't remember what time it was in the mission. So, but was it when I was in Motherwell and you were in Cumbernauld?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. And Zach, did we ever serve around each other?
I don't think so. I mean, I came in January of 2005, so I was the last 8 months of your mission. So
yeah,
we crossed paths a few times, but not in the same district that I can recall.
I thought your name sounded familiar, but I just couldn't remember where we served.
Yeah,
or if we did serve around each other. Yeah, Easter House. That was an experience. Me and Willis almost got we did get in a fight with a bunch of NEDs. We were knocking doors, or we were going to visit an investigator or less active. I can't remember. And the way that it was set up, there's stairs, and you had to go up these little stairs, and then there's a grassy knoll up top, and then that's where the apartments were. And the only stairs to get up there was like 4 or 5 NEDs just sitting there drinking their Buckfast and their lager and stuff. And we were walking, and I take the lead. I'm going up the stairs, and all of a sudden I hear Elder Willis go, "Dude, I will drop you." I was like, "What the crap?" And all of a sudden a beer can comes flying past my legs. And I look back, and Willis is handling a NED. So I get down off the stairs, and all of a sudden I'm handling a NED. He's swinging at me, and I'm pushing him away. And thankfully there was some neighbors just across the street, and they were yelling, and they told us to come into their place. So we backed up and backed out and went into these neighbors' house and talked to them. They gave us drinks and stuff for a little bit until the NEDs left. So yeah, I thought it was going to get pretty bad, but thankfully they were there.
Wow.
Yeah, it was Easter House. So yeah, when Sprague was talking about the guy that said he was going to punish us, and I messaged him afterwards like, "Dude, I don't even remember that happening." Like, because I got so many scruffs in Easter House that it was just another day. So.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, just a Tuesday at Easter House.
Yeah, it really was.
Too funny.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was there for 3 months, and then after that, we went to. I went to Springburg. They whitewashed Easter House. They actually wanted to whitewash it after our first 6 weeks there with Willis, but we told them no, because we had some really good investigators at the time. And then Elder Willis and I really, it was a good companionship. We had a lot of fun, and we're working hard. So we wanted to stay together as well. So they gave us another 6 weeks. But after that 6 weeks, those promising investigators disappeared. And so I guess they're like, no, we're going to whitewash it now. So I went to Springburg, and that was a zone leaders area at that time. And so I lived with them, and it was Elder Pattenden and Elder Grant were the zone leaders at that time. So we lived there in that one I was just there for 6 weeks. I can't remember if they ended up moving out after that or what happened, but I was with Elder Mace at that time, football Mace, the one that played football, not the musician Mace. I was there for 6 weeks, had fun with Elder Mace. He was like a little brother. He liked to poke the buttons. So I like to try and see what he could get away with. So and I know he was having a hard time on the mission, kind of getting adjusted and stuff. So I didn't want to be too mean, but every night we'd have wrestling matches, and that's where I get my aggression out on him. So we had a bunch of mattresses, and I would manhandle him and get my aggression out for him, pushing my buttons throughout the day. Oh, but yeah, Elder Mace was a fun guy. So there for 6 weeks, and then after that, I went to Dundee. I was there for 6 weeks with Elder Kellogg, and I really liked Dundee. It was, again, a really pretty city. I was bummed I was only there for 6 weeks. I was hoping to stay there for at least 3 months. And yeah, Elder Patton was my zone leader there too. I think Elder Patton and Taylor were my zone leaders there. So we had some fun there. And then after Dundee, I went to where did I go? Motherwell. And I was in Motherwell for 4.5 months, and I was with Paul Elder Christensen, and I trained there as well, Elder Christofferson. And then I was there with Elder Lineker for the last 6 weeks there. And then after that, I went to Inverness, and I was there for 5.5 months, and I had Elder Bergen as my companion. And Elder Bergen was one that was in the MTC with me, and I think while I was in Aberdeen, he was with us for a week. I can't remember the reason why, and we always joked, hopefully one day we'll get to serve with each other for longer than a week, and it ended up happening in Inverness. We got to serve with each other again. And how Elder Bergen was blessed. He's a great guy. He needs to work on his backing up, though. He liked to hit mailboxes. Then after Bergen was Elder Clausen, and then after Elder Clausen, it was Elder Midgley, the great Elder Midgley. He's the one that killed me off, and we only served with each other for 4 weeks, but I thought it was longer. But when I looked back at it, I couldn't believe it was only 4 weeks, because we had more fun than we probably should have had, and it was a lot of fun serving with Midgley.
So your last area was Inverness. Is that what I got from that?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Inverness is where I died. So, yep.
Amazing. You had truly a superstar slate of companions that you had along the way.
I did. Yeah. Elder Vriens knew he needed to keep me in line. So President Vriens knew he needed to keep me in line. So he realized he couldn't have me around Elder Sprague very long, so he'd get in too much trouble. So he sent me as far away from him as he could.
Yeah, he's going to punish you.
Yes. Yeah. Apparently, I was up for it. So.
Yeah, apparently.
I was ready to throw down.
Yeah.
The way that I heard it when Sprague told that story is, I don't know that you were clued in on the situation, but Sprague knew that if he picked a fight, you had his back, whether it was intuitive or spoken. So I think that's why he said what he said.
Yeah. Either way, he was right. So yeah, if they were going to throw down, I wasn't going to leave them to get destroyed. Yeah. So we're either going to destroy them or get destroyed together. So
love it.
Yeah. So I think I must have served. I know I went on exchanges with you when you were with Elder Willis, and I partook of the deep fried tradition.
Okay.
I think that's when I was actually introduced to that, like Oreos, and I don't care for the Oreos, but Mars bars were great. But yeah, it was like anything that would go in the batter and in the fryer, it went, right?
Yeah. Yep. So. Pretty much.
Did you guys have your own fryer, or did you take it to the shop?
No, so we just had a pot that we put in oil.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know. I'm trying to remember, because I got a really good batter recipe, but I don't think that was until Dundee, because I got it from Elder Taylor. Okay. So I don't think I had it then. I don't know where we got our batter recipe from, but yeah, it didn't stop us. We battered everything and anything.
Yeah. I just remember being young in the mission, and you ran me through this like series of questions that were like really weird. Like, do you button your shirt from the top down or from the bottom up? Which way does the toilet paper go? Over or under? Like, there's like 15 of those questions that you ran me through.
Really? I don't remember.
You don't recall any of that?
I think that was a mission tradition because I remember some of those questions that came through at some point too. Like, I don't know. One of them I think was about which direction you wipe, and I was like, "Really? Is that really that important? Why are we asking these questions?" It's just like, this is ridiculous.
Maybe it was Willis that asked me. Would that make more sense?
That probably would make sense. Yeah, that sounds like Willis questions.
All right.
Willis. And since he said he's going to come on, he done so we can put Willis under the bus as much as we want.
That's right. We'll keep kicking until he comes to defend himself.
Yeah, must have been Willis.
Oh man!
All right. So what memories do you have of the Vrienses?
Oh man, I didn't get to serve them too much. I was never in the Edinburgh area, so it was mainly my interactions were mainly zone conferences and stuff. But I remember when I think of President Vriens, though, I just think of love. Like, he was just ultimate. He was a great guy, and I love being around him because I had struggles or had issues. He just had so much love towards you, and he just helped you. You know, even if he didn't have the right answer, you knew that he loved you and he supported you, and so that helped a lot with working through things. Kind of a random story or memory I have with him. I don't know why, but I was in the car with him, and it was that time of GPS was just kind of, and it's starting to come out and stuff. And I remember he said something like, "Yeah, when it first got it, it was a woman telling me where to go, and I couldn't have that, so I had to change it to a man's voice." So I was like, "All right, can't have a woman tell me directions." I don't know, for some reason that has always stuck with me, but it was funny getting to see kind of his personality. And then Sister Vriens, of course, everyone said it, the Mrs. Piggy, or that's definitely her main story. But I remember, you remember at Zone Conference, they'd always give us like candy bars. You get like full-size candy bars, or I remember I had the Oreos, and I think they'd always give us some type of snack or something like that at the Zone Conferences. And I can't remember who was all sitting with me. I think there's 3 or 4 of us sitting with her in a room, and she was talking about, I can't remember what it was, if it was about cleaning or something like that. And I was really hungry because it was like lunchtime. And so I was snacking on these Oreos, and she looked at me and goes, "Elder Wes, can you stop eating? That's very disrespectful." She's like, "Sorry." But I didn't eat in front of her again, ever. So, but, yeah. But yeah, that's kind of all the stories I have about them. I loved them. They were always amazing to me. They're always just kind and full of love. So I just have great thoughts of them. But I didn't get a ton of interaction with them.
Yeah. Okay. Any particular experience you had on your mission that like is foundational to your testimony now? You look back on.
Yeah, it was serving with Elder Midgley. So that was my last 4 weeks. So I left 2 weeks early because the visa expired. So that's why I only served with him for 4 weeks. But we were out chapping doors, and we were having a really hard time. Like, people were just being extra mean. It wasn't just the regular mean, just slamming the door. They're like personal insults every time they would shut the door at you. And they're extra aggressive. And then we had a couple doors where the spirit was really strong. Like, they'd have questions and we had the answers. Like, it was just really good back and forth. And if I didn't know what to say, Elder Midgley knew what to say. So it just felt like we were just really working together. The spirit was really there. I was like, wow, we got to find someone, because this is the best I've ever felt chapping doors. Like, the the Spirit was there and everything. And we got to this guy, and we were on his door for, I don't know, it felt for a long time, maybe like 5-10 minutes. And he was really bitter. I can't remember what it was, but me and Elder Midgley had personal experiences for every issue that he brought up, with there being a God and everything like that, that we could testify to him. And again, the Spirit was really strong. And at the end, he was just like, no, guys, I'm not interested. I don't want it. And I was just super frustrated because, like, man, this is the best I've ever had chapping doors. Like the most I've ever felt prompted by the Spirit to say things. And it's just rejection after rejection after rejection. And I had the chapping book, and we turned around the corner, and I just hucked it at the fence because I was frustrated. I was mad. And Elder Midgley calmly goes and picks up the chapping book that exploded up against the fence. And we were walking, and I can't remember what we were saying. And I was like, dude, I just want to go home. I'm done for the day. And it was like 6 o'clock, so we still had lots of hours to chap. And he's like, all right, well, we can do that. And I saw some mountain bikers as we're getting ready in the car. I saw some mountain bikers come out of the trail in between a fence and there's a trail. I was like, you know what? Let's go for a walk. Let me just try and clear my head. And so we went on that trail and we started walking, and we started talking about. I asked Elder Midgley, I was like, how did you get your testimony? Because Elder Midgley came out later. He's a little bit older. I was like, what made you come out? And we started talking about our testimonies, how we got our testimonies. And we shared our testimonies of the gospel. And it really, it made me feel really good. I was able to feel the Spirit again. And after that experience, I was like, all right, let's just go. Let's finish out this street. And so we go and we knock the doors. And of course, if we would have been in Mexico, we would have found the family and baptized them. But in Scotland, the people were just nicer when they told us no. But that just really cemented to me how important remembering your conversion story is. Remembering when you felt that Spirit testify to you that the gospel was true. Because since then, I've been able to take that experience and that realization of how important it is to remember that feeling when I'm going through trials, even after the mission. And that's what's kept me going in times where I just want to be done with church or whatever, trying. I remember that experience, and then I remember my experience of how I learned that the church was true, that the gospel was true. So that was probably one of the biggest take homes from my mission for me.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
I think that I was just thinking as you were talking, maybe one of the reasons that we feel such a brotherhood together as missionaries who served there was that we testified more to each other than we ever did to investigators, right?
Yeah.
Friends of the church. So
we had to. It was like, this is true, right? We're supposed to be out here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those moments of reminder were definitely valuable.
Yep, for sure.
Between each other.
Yep, for sure. Yeah. No, and Elder Midgley was the perfect companion to have at that time too, because he was laid back, but so we were able to really balance working hard and playing hard as well, having a lot of fun. On P days, we made sure that we had fun. We tried becoming skateboarders. That didn't work out too well. There was Elder Hewlett. You served in Elder Hewlett. Zack, you served in Inverness, didn't you?
I didn't serve in Inverness, but I spent some time there when I was a zone leader in Aberdeen, so I got up there a few times.
Okay, so there was a skate park there, and we bought some cheap skateboards. What was the chain sporting store in Scotland?
JD.
Was it JD?
JD Sport, I think, or trying to think of any of the other ones that we visited. That was the one that stands out in my head.
Okay, I can't even remember if that was it or not. You could be right, but they sold everything. They sold all the sports, and they had some really cheap skateboards. So we bought those, and we try and skateboard on P Day. And I'm just glad we didn't break our tailbones or wrist.
Yeah.
Elder Midgley could actually skate. I could not. So.
Okay, that was my next question. Was what's your experience? Is this like a beginner thing, or That's
Pretty-
interesting.
Pretty much. I snowboarded, so I had that going for me, but I didn't really skate. I was never gifted with skateboarding, so and I didn't get gifted at skateboarding either.
The one who surprised me who could skate, because I'm like, no, I can't skate. I'm too tall. But then I was with Peterson on exchanges, and he borrowed a NEDs skateboard and did a kickflip, and I was like, oh, great. 6'8" and did it. I had no excuse. So.
That's really funny. Well, Jeremy, the question we posed to missionaries that are older than myself in the mission was, what was your experience in the transition from the missionary guide to preach my gospel?
Yeah. So I think I was about 15 or 16 months when the Preach My Gospel came out. And I really liked it, but I didn't feel like it was a huge change from what I was already doing. In the MTC, we did have the things that they used to memorize, but they told us don't memorize them, use them kind of as a study guide. And when I was with my trainer, Elder Slater, he was very much teach by the Spirit as well. So it was kind of, we'd use those as guides. And that's kind of how I like to do it either. I didn't like the memorization. It was nice at the beginning to kind of have something memorized so you could have something to kind of pull from. But once I got to preach my gospel, it felt very intuitive to what I'd already been doing. It just kind of helped be able to build on what I was already doing. So I really liked it. I thought it was great. And I liked the way you studied with that versus the way you studied with the pamphlets too.
Yeah, I appreciate that because, everybody has a different experience, and it's been interesting to hear, some missionaries that came out prior to yourself even had all the more different experience where, they went from strict memorization to the transition of, okay, don't memorize it, but have a baseline of what it's saying and then be able to teach it from your heart. And then as those things started to roll out, it's been interesting to hear kind of that process that took place up until we all had our physical Preach My Gospels in our hands that we hauled around to meetings and were constantly in as far as our studies were concerned. And so it's really cool to hear your experience on top of everyone else's we've heard so far.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it definitely was good. The thing I remember the most of it is it came out with the exercise bands too. Is that when we got the exercise bands? I think is when that came out.
Yeah, right around the same time.
Yeah.
And I just remember I had the list of do not do this, 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 and this. We're like, you can do that with it? Because I think I was in Motherwell at the time, and Elder Spragg was in Coatbridge. I think it was.
Yeah.
And so it was around Christmas time. We were together for some reason. Elder Hill was there too, and it had just snowed, and we got those elastic bands. We had one elder on one side, another on the other side, and we shoot these snowballs, and they flew. Like we were like, oh crap! We thought we were going to hit the streets because they were going so far. It was fun. I don't think I ever used elastic bands for exercising though. Just to launch snowballs.
I remember getting them out of the wrapper, and they were so coated in the
latex powder.
Yeah, the latex powder. Yeah, and I remember some missionaries found out they were allergic to it really quickly.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there was a few that I remember. They must have called the mission home, been like, "Hey, I've got like a rash from my band that I'm using in the morning," and it couldn't have been more than maybe 6 months into the mission for me. So it was probably summer of 2005, where Sister Vriens was like, "All right, do other exercises. Don't use the elastic bands anymore because apparently people are getting." Skin irritations, and
I think
Oh,
somebody
man.
went to the hospital too and it hit him in the eye. So
Oh, that's right, too.
That doesn't surprise me.
No.
Because I'm sure they were doing exercises with it, not trying to whip each other.
that's right.
Yeah.
No one would do that. Oh.
We had so many variations of people that I'm sure the level of being able to utilize a new tool for exercise probably was a little bit of a broad spectrum, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh my gosh. Too funny. Well, Jeremy, we appreciate you taking time as we're kind of winding down here. You've given us a good list of missionaries. Is there anyone else that you've just been thinking about or dying to hear from that we could put on our list of future guests that would get you excited to listen and hear from them?
Yeah, I've been trying to think about it, but everyone's kind of said the names that I've thought about.
Shout him out again if you haven't seen him on here yet.
Yeah.
Well, tell Willis that if he needs me to be on here and hold his hand, that I'll come on here and hold his hand and do it with him. So I had to do it as a companion. I'll do it again. So.
I mean, I send him a message every time his name comes up in our podcast. It's like, a bell rings, a fairy gets his wings. I'm like, hey, Willis, Wes said to say hi, and he'll hold your hand. And, his personality type. He sees it. I'm sure he smiles from ear to ear. And then he is that stubborn old goat that decides to say no instead of, okay, maybe think about it,
Yeah.
I'm slowly getting in there.
I'll bug him too. Except for I was going to Arizona for a conference when I was doing the franchise, and I messaged him on Facebook. I was like, "Hey, I'm going to be in Arizona. Are you going to be free?" And he messaged me like 4 years later. He's like, dude, I just saw this. I was like, what the
4 years later.
So either he lied to me, he didn't really want to see me, or he really didn't check the Facebook that much. Did he ever tell you about him pole vaulting?
No, please tell me.
He never did? All right. So that's what I did in high school. And then in junior college, I got to pole vault a little bit as well. And so we're in Easter House and we're knocking doors. And we come across this car and I'm looking at it. And I was like, that looks like pole vaulting poles in the container. So I go over there and I fill this bag. And sure enough, it's pole vaulting poles. And I was like, Elder Willis, we gotta find who these belong to. And so we chapped up the whole street all the way back down. And we, do our little blurb or whatever, and if they'd say no, and I'd ask them, do you know whose car that is with the pole vaulting poles? And they're like, no, I don't know who it is. And so we did that all the way up and down the street. And I was like, crap, no one had an answer for it. We're about ready to walk away, and there's a kind of they weren't high rises, but they're like 5 stories or something like that of flats. And we go and to knock there. I was like, let's try that real quick, and we get to like the 3rd floor, and this lady comes out and she's wearing, I think it was the Sydney Olympics t-shirt. I was like, oh, please be this. And so I give her the spill and she's like, no, I'm not interested. I was like, before you go, do you know who owns the car down there with the pole vaulting poles? And she's like, why? I was like, because I used to pole vault. I just want to talk to him. She goes, yeah, hold on one moment. And comes in, the guy comes to the door. I'm talking to him. He's like, yeah, come on down. I think it was the Kelvin Center in Glasgow is where they'd have it. So I was like, all right, that's awesome. So I called President Vriens. I was like, oh, Vriens, I have a special interest contracting proposition for you. And he's like, all right. I was like, well, I used to pole vault, and I ran into this guy that's a pole vaulting coach, and he invited us to go to pole vault. Can I do it? He's like, go for it, Elder West. Like, yes. So every P day for, I think it was close to 3 months or a little, it was over 6 weeks. I think we go pole vaulting, and that's where Elder Willis learned to pole vault. So,
oh my gosh,
he did pretty. I think he got like 10 feet, so he did pretty good. But that was actually one of the best investigators that I ever had, because he'd give us a ride back to our apartment every day, and he'd ask all sorts of questions, and we'd always offer him the Book of Mormon, and he's like, "Nah, I don't want it now. I don't want it now." And then I was leaving Springburn, so I did it after me and Willis weren't companions, because I was still right there, and I was going to Dundee, and I told him, I was like, "Look, this is my last Tuesday here." He's like, "All right, give me that Book of Mormon." And so I gave him the Book of Mormon. I don't know if anything came of it. His name was Brian. So if any elders ever taught Brian and he taught pole vaulting, please let me know. Because that's one I'd always hoped that something would happen afterwards. But
That's pretty cool.
That is awesome.
It's fun.
I was waiting for you to tell me like some horrendous story that Willis, did his first time and totally biffed it or something crazy.
I'm sure he did. I'm sure he may have done something, but nothing I can remember. He was athletic, so he was able to do it pretty good. He was a strong dude, so he could manhandle the pole.
Yes, indeed. Oh man, that's funny. Elder Willis, come on and tell us your side of that story. We'd love to hear from you. Oh man.
But other missionaries, is it Bredlow? I think they were talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got to serve around him. He's a lot of fun. I remember I went on exchanges with him when he first came out in the mission field. The dude was a go-getter. Like, he was talking to everybody and like trying to share the gospel. And I had been out a little bit, so I was kind of hardened and didn't want to talk to people when we were on the bus. And we would sit on the bus, and he'd go from seat to seat to seat to seat, and eventually ran out of people. So he went to the driver, trying to talk to the driver. So I was like, "Hey, you can't pass that white line." He said, "Go sit down." I was like, "This dude is too much." And then we ended up serving around each other later, and he had calmed down. He was hilarious.
Yeah, I had 6 weeks towards the end of his mission where we served in the same ward, and he's a great, great man.
Yeah,
very, very, very outgoing, but down to earth. I mean, I didn't see that, jumping froggered seat to seat on a bus, but
yeah,
I saw the zeal that he went about his work. He's a great, great man.
Yeah, I enjoyed serving around him later. I never got to serve with him again, but I got to serve around him. I think he was in our district at one point, and yeah, he's a fun guy. He was awesome.
Yes.
Did you guys ever serve around to Elder Archibald?
Archibald,
I think it was.
I don't remember an Archibald.
He's a French Canadian, super blonde hair.
Man, it sounds really familiar.
I think that was his name.
Okay.
What area would it have been in?
I'm trying to remember. I feel like it was.
Was it in Glasgow?
It was in the Glasgow area. I can't remember if I was in Motherwell at the time. I just have a picture of him, and we had shoved him in the trunk of our car. So it had to be Motherwell, because I had a car in Motherwell and Inverness. So I think it had to be Motherwell. So,
I don't know. Maybe he went home before I got there because you shoved him in a trunk.
He very well could have. Yeah.
I think the name was Archibald. That rings a bell for me in the description you gave. But yeah, if you're listening, get on.
Yeah, I hope he is.
Contact us.
I hope he is. Elder Lineker, I'd love to hear from him. He was my companion. Christofferson, love to hear from those guys as well. I think Christofferson's in Colorado too. I don't know what part, if he's close to you guys or not.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he is originally from here, but I don't know if he's still around or not. I mean, I'd love to get in touch with him, but I don't know for certainty.
Yeah.
So, Matthew Christofferson, calling you out. Love to have you on. That's awesome. Anybody else?
Trying to think. Elder Anderson? Is it Elder Anderson? Yeah, he'd be good to hear from. So I served with him in Inverness he was in Inverness when we first got there. It was a 4-man flat. So it was Anderton, Vertahem, then me and Bergen. And all 4 of those guys snored like crazy. Oh my gosh. Like I'm surprised there was any drywall on the walls there, because I hated it. It was the worst, because I would get one to stop and then the next one would go, and then they'd all harmonize together. It was horrible. And then Elder Vertahem would talk in his sleep, and so he's from Denmark. So the language that he spoke there was the super. And I remember waking up one night, the first night he did this, and he's just talking. I was like, he's freaking possessed. Like, what is going on? I thought the devil had taken over him. I think I threw something at him to wake him up. I was like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, I'm sleeping my talk in my sleep. I'm sorry." It's like, stop doing that. It's scary.
Oh my gosh!
I had the crap out of him.
Well, now see, we got to get him and his wife on, and we can ask her if he still does that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, she'd understand what he's saying, so it wouldn't be as scary.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
She could verify if he's actually saying words.
You're right. Yeah, it'd be good to hear from Vertahem too. But yeah, I can't think of anyone else. I'm sure I will afterwards. But yeah, there's just,
that's all right.
It's amazing how you can interact with people for such a small amount of time, but then they have such a big impact on your memories and on your life. I mean, even elders that weren't even my companions, like you have such fond memories and with them. It's amazing how 2 years can have such a big impact on your life.
Absolutely. Yeah, and as this is published, those you do have contact with, share it with them, and we've got this network of people just getting word around.
Yeah, I will. I'll let them know. Any that I can remember.
This has been great. Thanks, Jeremy.
Yeah, we appreciate it. It's great to catch up with you, and glad to see you're doing well. And Texas hasn't taken your accent yet, so.
I have been starting to say y'all, so it's starting to affect me.
It's okay. I'm surprised you didn't pick that up in Idaho anyway.
Y'all?
Y'all. My cousins in Idaho say y'all.
What part of Idaho are they from?
They're from the south, so maybe that's why you were separated.
Yeah.
You're up there in the north.
I lived most of my life in the north, so I didn't know that was an Idaho thing.
The civilized end of Idaho.
Yes, more civilized part.
Oh man, that's too good.
All right. Well, thank you, Jeremy.
Yeah, you guys have a good one.
You too.
All right. Love you, brother.
Take it easy.
Take it easy. See ya.
See ya.
Talk to you later.
Bye.